Okay, let's look at the problems on slide 51. These are calculations where we have to determine the number of significant digits. Let's look at the first example. I have 3.4 plus 2.18 plus 9 is equal to, okay, if we actually do this math, it will come out to something like 14.58. Now let's talk about the significant digits. In this particular example, because we are adding, so when we're adding or subtracting, the rule is that you look at the number of digits after the decimal point. The one that has the least number of digits after the decimal point will limit the answer to that same number. So what does that mean? If I'm looking at 3.4, this number has one digit after the decimal place. If I look at 2.18, this has two digits after the decimal place. If I look at 9, 9 has no digits after the decimal place, which means that my answer will be limited by 9 because it doesn't have any digits behind the decimal place. My answer will not have any digits after the decimal place. So I have to round this, cut it off right here. And because I'm rounding it, this is 5, so it will round to 15. This should be the right answer. I have no digits after the decimal point because 9 doesn't have any digits behind the decimal place. This is true when you're adding or subtracting. So let's look at the next example. I have 5.38 plus 12.1 minus 4.684. If you actually do that math, it should come to about 12.796. Okay, now I need to round it. I need to look at the number of digits after the decimal point. Well, 5.38 has two digits, 12.1 has one, and 4.684 has three. So the one that has the least amount of digits behind the decimal point will limit my answer, and that's 12.1 because it only has one. That means that I have to cut it off right here. Now, because this is a 9, I will have to round up, so this will be approximately 12.8. Let's look at the next example. I have 24.92 minus 6.0 minus 12.256. And if you do the math, it is 6.664. Now let's look at it. The same thing for up here. This number, because I'm subtracting, so adding and subtracting is the same thing. Here I have two numbers after my decimal. Here I have one number after my decimal. Here I have 3. So my answer will be limited by 6 because this only has one number after the decimal. Remember, this is the rule only for adding or subtracting, which means that my answer will be cut off right here. And because this is a 6, I will round it up, and the answer should be 6.7. One decimal after the point, or one digit after the decimal. Let's look at the multiplication and division rule. 2.5 times 3.25 is equal to, if you do that, it will be 8.125. Now I need to figure out where do I cut off. For adding and subtracting, we said we look at the numbers after the decimal point, and that will limit my answer. For multiplication or division, we look at the total number of significant digits. The one that has the least amount, that will limit my answer. So for this here, this number has 2 significant digits. This number has 3. So my answer needs to have only 2 significant digits. So it will be cut off right here. And because this is a 2, I can round it to 8.1. And that should be my answer. Now let's look at the next number. 3 times 3.567. Whoops. 6, not 9. 5, 6, 7. And this will be equal to about 10.701. Okay, where do I cut off here? Now, this number has only one significant digit. This has 4, which means that my answer should only have one significant digit, which means that this will be approximately 10. And because I don't have, or I can write it as 1.0 times 10 to the first, but it will be approximately 10. I don't put a decimal point right here because that will make it have two significant digits. If I write it as this number, as 10, then it will only have one significant digit. Now, because you might get confused because you're saying, well, we cut off here, but this 7 needs to make it 11. However, if I made it 11, that would have two significant digits. Because this is 3, it has only one, my answer can only have one significant digit. And this 0 is not significant because it's just a placeholder. If I put a decimal place behind it, it will make it significant. But the way it's written, it's not. You can see that my error is large here because this is not a very precise value. It's only 3 instead of 3.0 or 3.2. So it's not very precise, which makes my measurement not as precise as it should be. But that limits, this number limits the digits that my answer can have. And so I have to round it to 10 instead of 11 because 10 will only have one significant digit. Now let's look at the next problem. I have 45.3 divided by 67.9. And if you do this, you should get 0.66716, something like that. Okay, so let's figure out how many digits my answer should have. This number has 3 significant digits. This number also has 3 significant digits. So my answer should have 3 significant digits. And if I count, this is 1, 2, and 3, it should be cut off right there. And because this is a 1, I can round it to 0.667. Now I can also write this as 6.67 times 10 to the minus 1. And that will get rid of that 0, meaning it's just a placeholder. It's not significant. But either one of these answers is correct. I have 3 significant digits here and 3 significant digits there because my answer or my numbers that I'm dividing both have 3 significant digits. So when you do these, remember the 2 rules. These 3 are problems that illustrate adding or subtracting, and these were multiplying and dividing. When you add or subtract, you look at the numbers of digits after the decimal place. It doesn't matter what's in front, but the numbers after the decimal place. That will tell you where to cut off. Whereas for multiplying or dividing, you look at the total number of significant digits that each number that you're multiplying or dividing will have, and that will tell you how many your answer can have. Okay, I will once again erase this, and then we will move on to the next slide.